And so so what would you say, Josh, is your strength, and what is in Rachel, same thing. Like, what is your strength in business?
I mean, one of the biggest things that, people have told me, one, I've always been an amazing promoter. I can actually see some of the best things inside of someone. So when I actually sit there, people say when I'm talking to them, they feel like they're being heard. I can actually pull out some of the best and be able to show them who they are and then help them show the world. And so that's one of my best qualities when I'm sitting down with people is like, it's rare in this world that you feel like you're seen or heard. And that's what we want to be able to do, to be able to pull that out and allow someone to be seen and heard, and then be able to show them how they actually do that online in a world that's so cluttered. It's, that's really the superpower that I've really possessed over time and really harnessed.
I also think that Josh, he sort of like sees in between the lines. He's not a full-on futurist. I wouldn't say like a full-on futurist, but like Josh really can kind of see where things are going before they're there. Thus, he was in online advertising before it even happened. Thus, he started with LinkedIn and all of the work that Standout Authority does, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I'll add in that as an observation. And, Daniel, it's a lot easier. Part of when I do my personal branding workshops and we talk about what are your skills, your superpowers, it's a lot easier to know this by asking other people, what do you think are my superpowers? What would you come to me for? Than you trying to figure it out yourself. Just want to say that.
You're super.
So if you're listening today and you're like, what is my super? Well, don't worry. Just go ask like 10 people and see what Josh, they say.
What's her superpower? What is Rachel's superpower?
Rachel's, I mean, as you kind of go through, I mean, some of the best things that I've ever seen of her is her heart, her love. I mean, she really has such dedication, not only to, our family, to our business, to the children. I mean, that truly stands out. I mean, being able to be someone that actually goes through, and there's never 100% is never enough for Rachel. She is an overachiever, and she really puts her heart, soul into other people. And by doing that, it allows us to be able to make sure, like, look, I'm able to do a lot of things that I do, but having her in here to be able to, I mean, hell, let's just be real. Her superpower is wrangling me. I mean, that's pretty difficult. So keeping me on focus and task of where we're actually going. So that's a pretty good superpower, but that's really where I see Rachel shine through.
I do think though that, from you, Rachel, when you look at, you look at the mirror, you look in the mirror and you go, okay, I'm really, I think I'm pretty good at this. I think I'm pretty good at, this is what I feel great about. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I'm an incredible communicator. Yeah, I'm incredible at branding and I'm an incredible communicator. So the way I can communicate in this sort of forum, think on my feet, writing, creating presentations, like all the things that communication takes, I really am quite good at it. I was handpicked by one of the CVPs at Microsoft to be her executive communication lead. I turned it down because I chose to move to Austin, Texas,
and marry me
to take a chance on love. So there has it. And I couldn't take that opportunity. But yeah, Daniel, I'm a super strong communicator.
Love that. And I think it's good. I mean, I always felt like, not in a braggadocious way, but I just think it's important that we all recognize what we're good at and we give ourselves credit too, like to be able to say, hey, I did that good. I'm really good. I'm actually good at that. And people like that about me. And when we recognize that, sometimes then we can almost kind of stand out even more. Right. So anyways, the last, I just got a couple last things for you guys. I mean, this has been so much fun. And I just think, because I do think that the branding aspect in all of us small business owners is, I don't know of too many other things that are more important. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. I mean, I've been on Instagram forever and it's like, I haven't had to work forever because people just come to me.
Right.
It's just because not that I have, super millions of views or anything like that, but it's just whoever it is that's watching me they find me somehow, and then they, DM me and they go, "Hey, what do you do? Tell me more about what you do." And I send them a little video, and they go, "Yeah, I'd love to be a part of your business." And then, so it's just, it's interesting how, because in the old days, when I got started 25 years ago, I've been in business for 25 years. When I got started, we used to go to the mall in Prospect. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
literally. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but we'd go to the mall. Like that would be the place where everybody's at. So you would maybe bump into somebody or meet somebody or a coffee shop or a restaurant, or it's like, I could never do that anymore, right? When you have millions and billions of people online, why would we ever not brand ourselves and allow us to attract the people that are attracted to us, to give us the biggest odds that we're going to actually get along and not have to overcome a lot of objections? And it just makes so much sense. So from a branding standpoint, give us a couple, as we part, today, give us a couple of more ideas on things that you see, like mistakes that people make, and maybe some things that people need to make sure they're aware of when it comes to their profiles and their branding of what it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah, sure. So, building your brand really first starts with building out your value proposition, your narrative, your personal brand statement. However, what is that 1-2 lines that easily describes who you are and who you serve and why you do what you do? When it comes to building a personal brand, I believe that there are 4 elements. It is, what are your skills? So what are your superpowers? Who is your audience? So who uniquely relates to you? And this is not everybody. Most people do not know who their audience is. What is your differentiation? And this is really critical for branding, whether it's your personal life or your company. Like, what makes you different in such a clouded sea of social media? To be differentiated comes through in a lot of different ways. I like this to be something that's built with trust and credibility. So what's different about Josh is the fact that he has a book, the fact that he's built 16 company, and there is evidence of what he has done. There's a lot of people, Daniel, on Instagram, and I'm going to say Instagram and Facebook, I hate to say it, that are smoke and mirrors, right? Where it's like, what even Clubhouse.
Oh yeah, don't worry. She thought I was when we first met. Daniel, let me talk about that. I told her some of my background. As guys do, we meet the first time. I'm like, oh yeah, I've done this. Next day, she's like, I looked you up, and I'm like,
yeah. Okay. And I was like, okay, I did enough research where I think he's legitimate. But right, so part of that differentiation is really important, that it's experiences and part of your story that's really real. And then lastly, it's your passion. So your passion is what's going to make people want to reach out to you, Daniel. Like, you have 30,000 plus followers, whatever you said, you don't get people come to you at this point, right? Ultimately, that's happening because you've lined up your personal brand to be something really that you're passionate about. It gives you joy, and you're built a business that people can really feel that. People can feel that in you. And that's a big distinction in terms of people's longevity in their success and with their business. Because when you're building just to make money versus when you're building to serve, to make impact, and it's something you're passionate about. So that's how we start to build our brand. And Daniel, you know what most people do, the big mistake is that most people say, I need to be on LinkedIn. I need to be on Instagram. And they just start posting shit.
Content's not king.
Huh?
I said content's not king anymore.
Content is not king. Quality is queen, as Josh likes to say. And what that means is that hold the gear. You actually don't have to be everywhere. Be smart and think about, what are you going to be really great at producing and where, so that you can be consistent. Consistency is really important. And that you're, posting quality. If that's 3 times a week or 2 times a week, great. And making sure that it is lined up with your value proposition and what you're trying to deliver. So I think that people just really go wrong with it, is that they're just, trying too hard. They're trying too hard, and they're not really prioritizing which channel they should be on and the best way that they should be bringing their content that is most natural to them. What else would you say?
Yeah, no, I mean, she sums it up really well, Daniel. I mean, this is the biggest thing that I want everyone to kind of think about, especially if you want to be able to stand out, is like, we've all been there at some point where, you know, Rachel and I are like, oh, it's Friday night, let's turn on Netflix. And you're like, God, there's nothing to watch. Well, it's not that there's nothing to watch, there's too much. And so we get lost. And this is where that content kind of plays, because people are just putting so much out there, we don't know what to be able to find. So this is where you have to, like Rachel said, really make sure that you're precise and intent with, you know, when you're putting your content out there, and make sure that it adds value. Because if it's not adding value, well, then you're just adding more to the noise. And that's one of the biggest things that everyone keeps on doing, adding more noise.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our short clips on Alonzo Academy. If you'd like to watch the next short clip, click here. If you'd like to watch the entire podcast, click here.